Binchoise Brune.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got one from Belgium here today, and it is the Binchoise Brune. And just been reading up about this brewery actually. They look quite good. They actually do a barley wine, a Belgian barley wine. I don't think I've ever come across one of them before, so I may have to check that out. It looks quite expensive though. They've got it in quite a poncy bottle, and they're classing it as an aperitif. Now, to me, Belgian beer, their styles are very much in keeping with the old ale style tradition of England. And I'm hoping that the barley wine that they do is like an English barley wine. It certainly looks that way, but you never know with this lot. I mean, they speak French, so you know they could be trying to seduce me into drinking wine, and that is not going to fucking happen. But we have got some of their Brune beer here today, and this is from the Binchoise Brewery. Now, Binchoise actually come from a place in the Walloon or French-speaking part of Belgium, in the region of Hainaut, right near the French border. And do you know, it's funny, I couldn't sleep last night, and I was thinking, if Belgium ceased to exist and they gave the Walloon part of it to France would have some of the best beers in Europe, possibly the world. And that's a scary thought. So for that reason, I don't want Belgium ever to be chopped up. I know there's a lot of animosity. Well, there's not a lot of animosity. There's supposed animosity between certain elements. It's like the English and the Scottish. The French-speaking and the Flemish-speaking part apparently does not get on. I know both. They get on just fine as people. It's just the governments who stir up all the shite, as it were. But anyway, let's get on to this beer. This is a Belgian brown ale, artisanal Belgian ale, it's called. And I'm just looking on here, it's got 1836. That's a bit of a lie, to be honest. A bit of a lie, to be honest. That's an oxymoron, if ever there was one. But the brewery does stake a claim to being around that long on that property, but shortly after that brewery was founded, it was really badly damaged by a flood. And what happened was the owner of the brewery sort of gave it to other breweries, if you like. It was like a refuge, or just to help out other breweries for storage or whatever. But it was virtually destroyed by this flood. Now, of course, if you don't know, Belgium, certainly that part of Belgium has quite a high water table, so flooding would be quite a common occurrence. I mean, you've only got to look at pictures of the First World War to see the amount of mud, and that's just because of the high water table there is, because it's reclaimed land basically. But the brewery came back in 1986, as it is now, and it was founded by a couple who were unemployed at the time, and they just thought, fuck it, let's start a brewery. In 1986, that was quite a radical thing to do. Not so much now. Everyone's doing it, but back then that was quite a thing, and they got quite well known. They had some quite good success. I think they won a gold medal in the beer awards that are held in Chicago, and that was no mean feat back then. You see some of them awards for the Chicago Beer Festival on certain bottles of beer. I know I've seen it on a few. They do make a big thing about it, but it won a gold there. I don't know what beer it was, but they won a gold, and ever since then they've just been producing this stuff. Now, when they say artisanal, it is artisanal. It's quite a small brewery. They actually use kettles that belonged to the Belgian National Guard. What the fuck they were doing with kettles, I don't know. Boiling people alive, I'd imagine. Yeah, probably not actually, but there you go. Now, I do like Belgian Brunes. They are quite nice. They do remind me of British old ale. They're very malty. Well, this one has got sugar in it, but some of them the sugar isn't that big, and they are very similar to a British old ale type of flavour. Now, of course, British old ales use invert sugar as well sometimes, so there is a similarity there as well. For the bottle conditioning, they use that. So that's where, you know, I do like old ale, and I do like Belgian brown ale. As I say, they're very similar. If you like that big malty, hefty ABV in a beer, then you're going to like them two styles, and that's why I like the Belgian Brune. And that's why I bought this. Never tried it before. It's the first one I've tried from them. So let's shut up. Let's investigate this beer. Right, it's a 330ml bottle. It's 7.5%. It's a Belgian brown ale, I've just told you that. It's got 3 different malts in it, and it does contain sugar, and it's got aromatic hops according to the information on the website. I didn't really read the flavours on there. I don't really want to spoil it. I just want to see what this beer is. So let's get it open. Let's see what's going on with the flavour. Okie dokie. Right, cap is just plain black. Here is fuck all to see there. Now, it was served in a chalice. It was served in a chalice on their website, so that's what I'm going to do. Put it into a chalice like this. 7.5% ABV is about the right sort of ABV for this. It has gone through bottle fermentation, hence the massive carbonation. Oh, I can smell that malt from here. It's huge. Very sweet caramel. I'll tell you that straight away now. Yeah, it's lovely. Quite a bit of that sweet candy sugar is coming through as well. And I want to get everything in there. There is bound to be yeast sediment in there somewhere. Look at that carbonation. That looks really nice, actually. That looks like a really good Belgian brown ale. There it is in the glass. It's got a 1.5 finger foamy off-white beigey type head. There's a little hint of ethanol on that. 7.5%, you would expect that. Yeah, lovely caramel, quite nutty as well. Now you do get some of these Belgian brown ales do have a bit of nuttiness to them that comes from the sort of dark fruit, malt type mixture. It's not as big and pronounced as British brown ale, but sometimes you get it. And I'm getting that from here. And it reminds me of a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, sound like fucking Paul Daniels then, a little bit of a German Dunkel. Very nice indeed. Let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Oh, that ain't bad. That's not bad at all. I can actually taste the hops in this. They do say there's aromatic hops in it, but I can taste them. Getting that ethanol on there now. Cool, that is warming. It's a bit like, on first mouthful, it is a bit like a British brown ale, but with some bitterness on it and a lot of ethanol. That's nice. That is balanced. Very well balanced. Although saying that, on the finish you do get the ethanol. I'm wondering whether that's going to calm down after a few mouthfuls. But I like it. Very in keeping with a British brown ale. But if you can imagine a British brown ale on steroids. The nuttiness, it's there a little bit on the finish, but you do get big roasted malt on the finish, almost chocolate and coffee like, but it's very subtle, but you can get it there. It's subtle, but it's there. And I quite like this. This is quite nice. For me, this is relatively easy drinking, which is dangerous at 7.5%. However, I think it's quite rich, it's quite full-bodied. I think after a few of these I'd be, this is a bit heavy duty. Carbonation is quite big on it as well. It's not obtrusive in the mouth, but it is there. And it does move the flavours around nicely, but yeah, I think after too many of these you'd be feeling a little bit bloated. I do like it though. And I'll tell you what I do like. They haven't gone overboard with the candy sugar. It's allowing the hops and the malt to come through, hence the reason why it reminds me of a British brown ale. The ethanol on it, or the spirit alcohol, is probably not something you'd find on a British brown ale. But having said that, it's still good. And again, you know, when I was saying about the old ale comparison, some of the old ales do have quite fruity flavours. There is a little bit of fruit on this, but it's not big. This is all about the malt, the big caramel malt, and the nutty finish on it, and the roasted malt, dark chocolate. There is some hop bitterness on this as well, which is quite nice. But you're always being reminded of that spirit alcohol, ethanol backbone that's in this. And you're not going to forget, I think, that this is a 7.5% beer. But it is nice. I do like it. That is a really good one. And on the strength of this one, I really want to try their barley wine now, because I think that barley wine is 10% that they do. So that's going to be heavy duty. And it comes in a big bottle. I think it's a 750ml bottle. Fuck. The Belgians just don't care, do they? They will just pump it. None of these fucking minimum units that we've got over here. But yeah, this is good. I like it. So what's the verdict on Binchoise? Yeah, it's quite nice. I do like it. It's got a lot in common, as does most of the Belgian brown ales. It's got a lot in common with the British old ale, brown ale style of beer. This one is quite good because they've toned down the candy sugar. It's quite balanced. There is a sweetness to it, but there is also the hop flavour coming through, which is very nice. You've got the roasted malt, caramel malt that comes through. That gives a nice finish. There's always an ethanol backbone in this, which is good. It just reminds you that you've got to take this a little bit seriously. You can't fucking neck this, because if that alcohol was toned down, I would probably be necking that quicker than I should. But I like it. It's a good one. And I have to say, Belgian doubles and brown ales really are what I like in Belgian beers. Don't get me wrong, I do like the triples and the blondes as well, but I just prefer, this is probably a personal thing of mine, you know, I prefer German Dunkels and the Doppelbocks to the Helle Styles. Don't get me wrong, I love the Helle Styles, and you know, the Marzens that they do, they really are nice if you get a good one. But for me, Dunkel Weiss, you know, I just like that roasted malt flavour in varying degrees, and it's the same with British beer. You know, I love my old ales, I love bitters over the IPAs. Don't get me wrong, there's some good English IPAs on the pale ales as well, but for me it's always about the darker malts rather than the lighter malts. But I like this. This is good. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, and that's a solid 8 out of 10. Really good effort from them. And I'm going to try and hunt down their barley wine. Now, they're quite a small brewery, so not all their beers are available over here, and especially now with Brexit. But, you know, I'm trying to do my bit to help out all breweries now, and I'm not going to just go completely fucking insular and just drink British beer from now on. There's no point, you know. A couple of subscribers, and I see their point. I say, no, you should be supporting British brewers. Yeah, I do. I'm not buying fucking equity for punk shares if you want to split hairs or anything like that. But if I just completely blanked European beer, I would be doing myself a disservice, because I like British beer, I love British beer, and I love German beer, and I love Belgian beer. So that's what I'm going to drink. And it's going to be more expensive now to buy them style of beers, but I don't mind. It's not that I'm rich, but that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, rant over. 8 out of 10, definitely recommended. I got this from Beers of Europe. It's still on there. If you want to get some, I'd recommend it. It's really nice. And yeah, Belgian Brown Ale. Love it. And remember, beer is working class champagne.